ムフォロー、奪われた過去を求めて。
The fuck was all that shit after that? Ethan Kairos, anime haircut, check.
I'll be crying if I look like that too, bro. That's fucked up what they be doing to y'all.
Student, check. Watch collection addiction funded by his parents, check. About to turn 17 years old, check. He has a bitch ass cut, which got him good, cause genius here decided to give it a bath. Nice. Ethan's called down for tea, but something's going down. Uncle Derek is here and he wants money from our father Timothy. Needless to say, he's turned away and he says very normal things a person would say after the request has been denied. You regret this. Already starting with the threats. What is he doing threatening? Bro, Pops is still f***ed up by how Angst was acting there, though the convo quickly switches to Mr. Ethan's 17th birthday. Now Ethan here is rubbing his hands, as in the room he was already hatching a nice little plan to get his parents to buy him an expensive watch that he's been wanting forever to add to his collection. As he's waffling, the parents are kinda having this weird secrecy talk very out in the open. It ultimately culminates in Ethan being told to come back home tomorrow early, taking no side quests wherever possible, emphasizing the importance of this thing. A tragedy for Ethan, as he doesn't get to bankrupt his parents for some goofy ass watch. But the real tragedy here is his dipshit dad leaving a nice chilled one on the table, very likely to go to waste. Ethan crashes out on Mumsy and says something truly horrific. Season your meals properly. Oh, damn. The overarching qualm here is basically, you guys don't listen to me. I am very Okorimash right now. I'm going to bed. Ethan is going to bed. But before that, oh no, I am very sad. I talk to my mom like that. And boo! 240p cutscene. I know, very scary. It's not too bad though. Just pretend it's 2015, right? And we are watching Kiss anime using the school's Wi-Fi in the library through an unblocked computer. And we are touching shoulders. And my hand slowly drifts into yours. And we gradually...
You cannot be for real.
Aki! これは誰だ？誰がやったんだ？ホローなのか？
お父さん、お母さ
ん。あちらへ行くしかないか。
待ってよ、お父さん、お母さん、嫌だよ、行かないでよ。お父さん、お母さん、嫌だ、嫌だ。嫌だ。夢。
Ethan wakes up, presumably from the nightmare. What? Ethan wakes up, presumably from the nightmare, but everything is not as it seems. The scratch the cat gave Ethan is no longer, and in fact his whole room is pretty much different. Oh yeah, and also there's a portal right next to his bed. I forgot to tell you about that. Socks rubs up against Ethan's leg and we see something attached to him, specifically a pen. Ethan taps it with the pen and... Ethan, what am I doing? What am I saying? Ethan is... I'm sorry, why did I say Ethan like that? I sounded like a fucking alien. Ethan, bro. It's not Stop. Lock it. Ethan is naturally shaken by what has just transpired. But before we can mull over it a bit, a voice calls out from downstairs. And it's Uncle Derek. But hey, wasn't he beefing with Pops about some money qualms? And with that in mind, we decide to question him on the whereabouts of our parents. And he goes on to completely shatter our reality. Whoa! 12 years? God damn! Stay up and disappeared. So are we like... 29? And pretty much from now on, the story hinges on one thing: finding out what happened to Ethan's parents. I'll tell you right now. Don't hold your breath here, bro. Don't hold your breath. I saw a on Reddit call it mediocre.
Damn.
Now look, mediocre does mean average, right? But let's keep it a buck. That shit sounds worse, okay? A thought experiment, if you will. Let's say you've made something, right? You're proud of it. It took quite some time. And you're ready to show it off to two people, right? Two reviewers, if you will. And so you present your product or whatever it is.
Niambie kenye unafikiri.
One of the reviewers takes a look and is like, oh, you know, it's average, right? Then the second one comes, takes a look and says, it's mediocre. I didn't even have to put no fancy edit on top of that. It sounds crazy. Tell me that does not sound crazy. Mediocre and average, I'm sorry, man. We're gonna have to edit the lexicon or some bullshit. Because they're not the same. Mediocre hits a little too much on the soul. Because they are functionally the same. But you tell me, who are you most likely to swing on? Tell me the truth, because ultimately your feelings are getting hurt regardless. But the choice of words here is what's gonna determine who's getting the foot up their ass, right? Anyway, whatever, bro. As I mentioned before, the story post the prologue is basically, where is Ethan's parents? And we now know disappeared 12 years ago. A reality that everybody seemingly acknowledges. Included in that are Ethan's schoolmates, Vin, Ben, Maurice, Ashley, and Emily.
Hi Emily, can you feel the chemistry?
And in this reality as well, Derek seems to have filled the role of Ethan's parents, but he's still a broke freelance writer. Damn. It's not all too bad though for Ethan, as he's given a nice gift by Miss Emily here and Ash, an expensive clock that is, which he takes back home at the end of the day. Socks pulls up as he's admiring his new clock with a note attached to him, telling him that, hey, that pen is a very important heirloom handed down through generations of the Kairos family. Now go to the dumpster behind your school to learn more. You couldn't have picked a more scenic place, jeez. Go there, verify the flashback, and the plan. English, what's happened? And the pen glows, open the hole, and there.
Penで丸を描く。あれは
He then says a very innocent statement and pulls the box through, which contains a letter which is from Ethan's dad, speaking more about the pen and specifically saying, the holes you open, sorry, I'm being a child, I'm being such a child. The holes you open must close or time won't start up again. As basically these portals that have been drawn are portals to the past, and the holder of the pen must have the time to use it. Now, for this to be mentioned, especially in a visual novel, you'd think this is a very subtle foreshadowing of coming events. It is absolutely not the case though. The latter is purely based on gameplay mechanics, referencing the gauge here, which tells you how many holes you can open before a game over screen appears. I'll come back to this later when it's relevant. Ethan also got the sleek watch that he wanted, so that's good for him. Next day, key things happening. Ashley, lost phone. Ben and Ash, who are siblings by the way. I don't know whether the very subtle design choices on both characters would tell you that, are both arguing. But those are how the aforementioned flashbacks come to Ethan. And now the current reality we inhabit has changed. And what has changed? We soon find out as Ben calmly informs us that Ashley has been missing for 2 days after a fight with Emily regarding money that they were both gonna individually save up for, but later on combined to go towards Ethan's gift. We see said fight in a flashback pic showing Emily pushing Ash to the ground, a fact that Emily later confirms when we talk to her. She's also taking the situation impeccably well, very well, in strides if you will. There are 2 more flashbacks that we need to investigate, and by that I mean go to the locations of said flashbacks and collect clues on them. In the locker one, we talk to Bro, who appears in said flashback, and we learn that she was looking for something at a locker, though we don't know what. In the classroom one,
I'm a fault with.
Bro.
Okay, we talked to Maurice about the girl and he tells us her name's Corey, and for some reason that sparks something in Ethan. Even though he does not know her at all, I've scrubbed through the entire footage. There is no reason he should be having a eureka moment right now. So if the fade out wasn't indicative enough, you might as well draw on a forehead. Pivotal to storyline, do not kill. Anyways, with Ash gone now, every one of our hombres is pretty much boots on the ground trying to find any sign of her. Exit the classroom, and would you look at that, it's pivotal to the storyline, do not kill strikes again, and plasters her contact info on the wall besides the class. What is going on? We call her right away and she immediately pulls up, no questions asked. Oh my god. That's the Duke Dennis I can't make jokes like that. That's such an old day. So as it turns out, Corey here had an envelope that Ash had dropped containing the money that she had been saving up for Ethan's birthday. So Ashley did have the money, she just misplaced it, rendering that whole argument of Ashley and Emily's completely useless. When Ethan asks for it so he can correct the timeline, Corey is like, hold up, how do I not know you're pulling a fast one on me? So in order to prove to Corey that we are Ashley's friend, we obtain a photo from a grieving Vin, by the way, he's very sad about this whole situation, which contains the whole gang with Ash in it. Take it to her and she gives it to us, which we then use at the site of the fight to set things right. Oh my goodness, hear those rhymes, my boy, oh my god. And the reality changes as we now see Vin and Ash having some nice sibling moment. Nice. Why did I repeat moment? What? And in this reality also, we don't get a clock, but a birthday card, even though we returned the fucking money. Next chapter. Everything is absolutely fabulous. You know, Ethan is chilling with the bros in a cafe. Fine ass waitress Olivia makes convo with the lads, and she specifically chats about a near miss accident she had with a truck yesterday night. And of course, this triggers a migraine for Ethan. In this reality, you can guess Miss Olivia dead or hospitalized or something, I don't remember. She's just not here, okay? Even Crohn's is closed down because of that incident, so it's very serious stuff. And it is up to us to fix it, which we do by using our pen to open a hole at the place where her bike, which is behind Kronos, and there we find her locked bike with the key still in the lock. Oh my god, man, your niggas in Japan living amazing. Nobody wanna steal. We basically take the key so she's unable to unlock her bike, thus making her walk home, thus ensuring she does not get hit by a truck. But oh no, consequences come to us. The ensuing reality post our edit is Sparky gets laid down. That's right. The accident still happens, but Sparky takes one for the team. The dog's owner, Jacob, was also involved in the accident, but he survived. This is the first time we see the side effects of editing the past in the ensuing reality, and this will be a central point within this story, so take note of that. So we gotta do Jacob a solid, you know, he's crying, he's moping, you don't want a sad boy and a dead dog on top of that, so we oughta go help him. Down the street, and this looks like one of the flashbacks we saw when the dog became the victim of the accident. We verified the entirety of this flashback by inquiring with the people who are pictured in said flashback, that being Olivia and then subsequently the librarian of the school, who's looking kinda, you know what I'm saying, she looking kinda bodacious, I'm not gonna lie, Shan.
You like niggers?
Big session, and we tie a nice OSHA approved knot to the truck to ensure the fridge does not fall, and presumably that sets everything in motion. But alas, somebody is around.
What is going on?
So till now, when we enter the whole digging state, oh geez, time pauses and so does everything within it, aside from Ethan. So seeing Corey here, it kind of leads us to believe that, hey, this bitch got a pen. That's a little bit of a pause, I'm not gonna lie. This bitch a pen user, but that is quickly refuted. Basically, she says the pictures, flashbacks, we see only appear because someone's changed the past, implying the possibility of another pen user aside from Ethan. The plot thickens. She off though and the day is saved. The current reality now is that no accident happens, everybody is okay, but Olivia got herself a boyfriend and Ben isn't too happy about that. Ethan calls it a day and heads back home, but he's still thinking about how Corey was still on that witch as she was able to hang with us in the pause dimension. Pause dimension? So Ethan is decided he must talk to her tomorrow. And as he goes off to bed, two disembodied voices speak up.
Looks like we should have never handed that pen down to that one in the first place. Ethan Kairos. Well, let's see what he's capable of. And if he gets in the way, we can always just erase it.
Great! Next day, personal study session with Maurice and Ethan's. And Ethan's still trying to inquire further about his parents' 12-year absence. See what niggas know, you know? And Ethan makes the decision to tell Maurice about his whole situation, and he is not even moved, not even a little bit. Immediately accepting the situation as is, not even batting an eye. Hell, he even throws his pseudo-astrophysics degree into the ring. Which is very ironic, by the way. This nigga failing all his classes in this game. But we'll get back to that when it's relevant. Anyways, remember good old Ben? Square glasses, BTS haircut, had a crush on Olivia that definitely wasn't gonna pan out well at all in his favor? Well, he's dead. Dead as hell. What shoes he got on? And like the good friends we are, we decide to go to Kronos, which is the cafe, by the way, for some reason. Jacob is there. And basically the gist of what led to Ben's death is Ben hates dogs. Ben saw dog. Ben crash out. Aaron, Olivia's boyfriend, the blonde in the cafe, comes out.
I'm gay.
Wait, what? Aaron comes out of Kronos, I meant. He argues with Ben. Ben, I guess, hits his head perfectly on a rock and then dies. Lucky ran away cause he did not like being yelled at. Oh no. And that's what has led us to here. Alright, let's go behind Kronos. God, halfway through this game already and they're abusing this locale. I'm sure this wouldn't be a very pivotal place within the story. Open a portal, move the singular rock in the path, and ta-da! Day saved. No, it's not. The ensuing reality post-edit is now Ben ends up absolutely brocking Aaron in the head with the rock. For fuck's sake, I thought I moved that bitch, nigga. How did you find that? So Aaron is the one in the hospital now, and Ben is likely to go in the pen. This is even Japan. Your ass might just get executed. Just showing my ignorance here today, lads. Showing my ignorance. So faced with this predicament, we do the most reasonable thing and look for Jacob's dog. What the fuck? I'm not gonna lie, Jacob. Maybe God was spitting when he made that refrigerator land on your stupid ass dog. We start off at the station and there we meet Corey, wearing one of the worst fits I have ever seen in my life. Who the f designed this? It's so bad we don't even talk, we just walk, bro. We turn to a corner and there an antique shop stands, and for some reason this, of course, as it always does, it triggers a fucking law dump that is basically, yo, Ben really hasn't been the same since the thing that happened in this specific place where the antique shop currently stands. I don't know about you, but Ben has been completely normal throughout this gameplay, so I don't know what type of memory injection gaslighting they trying to do here, but apparently Vin, Maurice, Ethan, and Ben had a nice tree house where the antique shop currently stands when they were much younger. Ben had a dog, Shiloh, and it unfortunately got killed in a typhoon when a thunderstorm hit the area a few years back. Ben had apparently forgotten to tend to Shiloh that day. Wow. So first of all, I'm sure the warning of a thunderstorm would have come in advance. And hell, this is even Japan, you know what I'm saying? Japan is like patient zero natural disasters. I don't even think that made sense, but they'd probably even give the warning earlier is what I'm trying to say, right? 2, does Ben have no parents? Cause surely they would have reminded him that, hey, you know what I'm saying? There's a typhoon about to smack the out this city, bro. So please, you shit, don't leave the fucking dog outside. And 3, why in God's name are you tying the dog to the fucking treehouse? He wasn't even there. This nigga is small as hell. This is not an outside dog. This nigga gonna be eaten by a coyote. Are there even coyotes in Japan? Let's do a quick Google search. Coyotes, Japan. Alright, there are no coyotes in Japan, never mind. But there's this shit thing called Japanese raccoon dog. Yeah. But hey, there are bears as well there. So, yeah. The motherfucker would have been dead either way. Listen, I'm sorry, right? But does this section not sound absolutely retarded? Even the way it's brought up, I swear it's like characters in this game get ideas beamed into their fucking heads of what the next plot point of this game is supposed to be. It's like, what? Completely out of the blue. Ben throughout this gameplay does not even act outside of his generic anime geek slash nerd archetype, almost to a fault. So I'm sitting here like, Ben, Arak, what? Other character, because I mean it's not like those other convenient laid out plot point of Ben having a crush on Olivia that could have been explored, and maybe that would have brought some turmoil between Aaron and Ben, making the conflict between Aaron and Ben seem more natural. But hey, I guess that's a bit too good, so whatever. Oh my god, I'm being so mean, damn. Now listen, I was so pissed off, I was even gonna skip to the end of this whole chapter because this is some bullshit. But unfortunately, important stuff happened, so I have to go through it. Oh, and also, post this, there's 10 minutes of looking for this stupid ass dog. 10, 1, 5, 10. We find this stupid ass dog. Return it back to Jacob. Go back to the station, and there we find Miss Was dressed 2008 and pivotal to the story, unfortunately. Gal over there, blah blah blah. Tell Maurice about the pen and his capabilities and the holes and stuff, because apparently he's just very receptive.
Big Phil!
Because apparently he's just very receptive to
Big Phil!
because apparently he's just incredibly receptive to this, so whatever. But then the idea comes up of, hey, let's maybe try the antique shop to change Ben's dog dying past to make him not wanna bash Aaron's head in. Let's go! Story that does not make sense. Verify all the details of Ben's dog by using the library, where we get an exact date and time of when the typhoon hit the city. Head over back to the antique shop, use Ethan's silver tongue to get into the back room where the rough location of the previously standing tree was, by bringing up the fact that the shopkeeper went to the same school that Ethan and the lads went to. Or go to, sorry, English. I mean, hey, they even have the same homeroom teacher, Mr. Toombley. Before we can open the hole though, Maurice stops us. And remember when I said that this nigga failing his class but he's very ready to play Mr. Armchair Astrophysicist? Well, hello, here he comes. He got a horrible score on one of his exams that was guaranteeing him an entry to college, and he pretty much wants us to use our powers on him to change the score so that he can get into college. Decisions. You open the hole, cut Shiloh free so she can run back to the neglectful household that he f***ing stays in, and close the hole, ensuring a better future. As we're exiting the antique shop, the shopkeeper stops us and asks us whether we found what we were looking for in the back room. He also bothers us about buying something before we go, but Ethan is like, now, receptive guys, please, tell me you've caught what's going on here. I'll give you 10 seconds. And your 10 seconds are over. So as the shopkeeper keeps badgering him about the wares that he wants to sell, and to get him off our back, Ethan gives him his phone number to contact us when a shipment comes through of whatever the f*** he's selling, cause I really wasn't paying attention. He as well gives us his card too, and we learn that his name is Arving Onegin. In the flashbacks, we see everything is in order. I mean, even Maurice as well. He dropped out though. But he's now a professional dog walker. God, I wish that was something cooler. Ethan does contemplate wanting to change the past for our boy Maurice, but Maurice is happier, it seems, so we abstain. And it seems like what they were getting at with Shiloh's death is that Shiloh's death actually affected Maurice more than Ben, even though Ben is literally murdering people here. Like, what the fuck are you talking about, n***? And I guess that was meant to make the whole thing of Maurice bringing the whole memory of Ben out of the blue make more sense. Call it convenient. I call it dog shit writing. Corey comes to talk to us and she tells us the whole spill, that being that edits of the past carry on to the future, though the memory of the edits does not carry on with the people affected. Does that make sense? It doesn't matter. The story isn't that good. She reiterates that she's not a pen user once more, but that she knows Ethan's father from a long time ago. Now, being that the pen was handed down through generations of the Kairos family, Ethan sees it fit to inquire more about this with one of his family members, naturally, that being Uncle Derek. And with that, the writers are back at it again with the subtlety and finesse of shit-stained white drawers, as they very subtly imply that this may not be a good idea. Oh my god, I couldn't see that coming. The next day, we ask Uncle Derek regarding the pen, but it turns out he can't even see it, actually. Something about only the holopen user or holopen users are only able to see the pens, not regular humans. So we also ask him about a possible heirloom that has possibly been passed down through the family, trying to allude to the holopen, obviously, but we strike out there as well. Uncle Derek then goes on a rant, sparked by the topic switching to Ethan's parents again, and he specifically rants about Ethan's dad and how he couldn't quite keep his nose out of people's business. In fact, he has as a guess that one of Ethan's parents' recent snoopings, well, recent relatively, regarding an old accident that happened around Uncle Derek's bath is likely the culprit of why they went missing. He also remarks that an old high school classmate of his lost his mother in that very accident. The old high school classmate named Irving Onegin, the shopkeeper. What is this on my face? Let's just recap one of the ground rules that was set by the game. That specifically being, once a past has been edited and the hole has been closed, the people involved in that past in the ensuing future have no recollection of said change. Basically, it's just like that past they were in before didn't exist. And yet, when we finished editing the past in Onegin's shop, in the back room specifically, when we came out of that back room, he remembered. Does not take a scholar to know that there is more to the shopkeeper than we think. So basically, Uncle Derek is linking this investigation that Ethan's parents were carrying out on that accident as a reason for Ethan's parents' disappearance. We show the card that Onegin gave to us, and Derek decides that it's time to pay him a visit as he's got a lot of as Onegin has a lot of explaining to do, and he storms off. So this whole section now is basically being a nosy bastard and looking through everything in Uncle Derek's study. And there we find in one of the cabinets a yearbook of Ethan's school, but from decades ago. The time when Uncle Derek was a high schooler. And would you look at that? The plot is out here looking like Officer Cheng with a fine ass from the rookies. You feel me? Between the books, we also spot an hourglass type thing. I don't know how to call this. We also see on the desk Ashley's phone, which shall be relevant later. And snooping around some more, we find a note regarding the pen, talking about once the heir turns 17, the pen is given to them. The pen cannot be used indefinitely by a user as it uses its holder's time. And also, hey, this is in Uncle Derek's office, right? So why is this dickhead saying that he knows jack shit about a pen heirloom in the family? You know what? I'ma just stop commenting about stuff. Ethan comments on Onegin's old age compared to Derek's, as they were classmates as mentioned before at one time. So we got everything from the office, so let's just head out of here. But no, actually, flashback time. So this is presumably the flashback that occurred 35 years ago that is said to be the root cause of Ethan's parents' disappearance. We of course gotta verify this B, so we go see the library where we find a newspaper talking about the accident, and there we get a time and date, and the flashback is then fully verified. Head to the area where the accident happened and dig. And with that, we inform Mary Onegin, the mother of Irving, to get the f*** out the bus. But here we learn that Mary's got a holopen. Mary and Irving get away from the accident, and Ethan closes the hole. However, nothing changes. Cut to Drake and why did I just say Drake? What? Cut to Derek and Onegin talking. Derek has a hunch that Onegin knows more about Ethan's parents' disappearance than he's letting on. He tells Onegin he's not gonna stop bugging him, but for now he clears out. As he walks out though, he bumps into Corey, and he's obviously positively flabbergasted. I mean, one, because she's literally a classmate of his from like, what, 20 years ago, who has not aged a day, and secondly, well, we'll get to that when it's relevant. Onegin very quickly though pulls Corey into his abode and creaks the door slightly open just so you can see his face, and he hits us with the most "I am definitely not gonna be the main and only antagonist of this shit novel" look ever. And he says, man, I don't care, bro. He just closes the door. Let's leave it at that. Back to Ethan, and he's still reeling over the fact that his edits bore no fruit. Second time's a charm, but no, it isn't. She's still dead. By the way, the game has it redo that completely. No change happens, just for you to come to the same conclusion. Great gameplay. The second time around, Arvin crashes out, seemingly reacting to us re-editing the past, killing his mom once more. Arvin questions Corey, specifically on whether she's talked with the Kairos, clearly getting a lot more angsty. Corey though tells him she hasn't, momentarily calming him down. Well, with nothing working out for Ethan, he has no choice but to head home, where Derek gives us the same news of his fruitless endeavor of questioning Arvin. Ethan tries to ruminate over his what? I wrote that? Oh my god, that's such a big word. Oh my god. Ethan tries to ruminate over this wrench in his path. Could the pen possibly have found its limits on what it can and can't change? A question that we shall live for tomorrow. Next day, we head back to school and we talk with Corey, as she is capable of seeing the flashbacks that Ethan can't see, meaning she saw us try to edit Onnegan's mom's death and we failed, blah blah blah, you get it. She asks whether we killed that woman. If she can see the flashbacks, why the fuck are you asking us the question, you dumb bitch? Ethan's way of doing stuff is clearly not bearing any fruits here, so Corey suggests something: pulling people through the hole from their time into ours. Now this is not a bulletproof concept, as people who are pulled through the hole from the past, basically the age that they were in when they were pulled from the past into the future, becomes their static age. So hey, Corey, you wouldn't be one of them motherfuckers, wouldn't you? I mean, your fashion sense is kind of giving me that feeling, but I'ma just shut up. We decide to ask her about Arvin, as he is absolutely connected to all of this somehow, but just as she's about to answer, things have definitely gone from bad to us. The flashbacks we have are now of an empty house, indicating that Ethan is now living alone, a dead body, and Uncle Derek sitting alone at the Kronos bar. We gotta investigate now. Get to Kronos, and Corey is waiting for us, and she tells us very emotionally to save our uncle. The sign, by the way, is identical to the hourglass we found in Uncle Derek's study, which will be important later. God, I love time games. We enter the Kronos shop and have a chat with the owner, and we find out quite a bit. So firstly, the dead body we saw is in fact Uncle Derek. Uncle Derek was the owner of the cafe, as he opened it 14 years ago, though it seems it lacked success. I mean, even rumors were swirling around of possible sabotage. The situation led Uncle Derek down a dark path of borrowing money from loan sharks. The debt mounted and mounted, but the crazy thing is, he did eventually pay all his debts back. He even had to sell the cafe in order to do so, and that was around the time he switched to becoming a writer. But ultimately, he didn't get to write long enough, as he got clapped. As we exit Kronos, Corey one last time emotionally asks us to please save our uncle. Very subtle, I'm sure there's no relationship there at all. We go to the library to verify the dead body flashback, and then go to the scene of where Derek's dead body was found, and we find a note that Ethan wrote to Arvin a few realities back when we were with Maurice at the shop. Now, if Arvin's very innocent face a few realities back did not give away his involvement in this absolutely does. We close the hole and start to hatch a plan to prevent Derek's death. And the plan's kinda dumb, because it literally involves taking ideas from the characters around as to what would make them go back to Kronos. And we write it down on the idea memo, which we then take to Kronos, open a portal, place the idea memo close to Uncle Derek, close the portal, and this does not only stop his death, but this motherfucker's cafe is now popping. Head back home, and Derek has left Ethan a nice little birthday present, that being a nice stuffed toy in the likeness of socks. Very, very cute. This reminds us of Arvin, as at this point it's very, very obvious that Onnegan has had a hand in editing Uncle Derek's past, and just as we are mulling that over, it's on again. He calls us to meet at the place where his mother's accident took place the very next day, and that if we're a no-show, there may be certain unpleasant changes that occur. Ethan has no choice but to follow through. We arrive the next day at the designated area, and there, Irving is already menacingly awaiting us. Their convo revolves around, of course, the death of his mother, Onigin specifically saying how that he's seen our attempts to save her from the crash, but the only difference is that he sees her go right back into that bus after the hole closes. An oddity even he can't quite explain, but ultimately attributes to Ethan and Ethan's dad meddling. We also come to find out that the only reason Ethan's mom is in that bus in the first place is because Ethan's dad had sent for her. Ethan tries to refute this, but with zero evidence, it makes no difference. And with that, Irving prepares to end Ethan. But hooray! Mr. Derek shows up just at the nick of time. Sorry. Irving snaps as he pulls out his very own holopen in a bid to save his mother. Irving then opens a hole, steps into it, and just as Corey arrives to try to stop him, he closes it. A new reality with a new slew of problems. Corey calls us and tells us to come quickly to the place where Irving's antique shop was, and there all we find is a vacant lot. No shop, just a lone tree stump. We talk to Corey and immediately she says she tricked Ethan. Go figure. And before we can even answer her, she breaks down. So basically, yes, Corey was in fact pulled out of a hole, but I mean, shit, why aren't we all?
You cannot be for real.
She was pulled from the past through a hole when she was 16 years old. But the thing is, she was pulled from that hole by Ethan's father. She said she was pushed off a roof by someone, but she kind of blacked out as she was falling. But when she came to, she was in a classroom, unscathed, with Ethan's pop. He specifically said in that very moment that when he can find a way to keep her from dying, he'll put things back the way they were. And so here she is, waiting, forever 16. She's graduated high school since and has been trying to keep out of sight. That was 12 years ago. And that's when Irving found her and approached her, saying he can help her. But in the end, all he did was just use her. And now that Irving has relegated himself to a similar fate as Corey, we try to figure out where and what he may be doing next. But just as we are brainstorming with Corey, she notices a burn mark on Ethan's hand. He's surprised at first, but he quickly links this to one of the flashbacks we have where we see Shiloh again. Oh my god, poor Shiloh. They're about to mark my boy for a third time. Ethan got this burn when he was escaping the blaze of the hideout, but I guess he said f Shiloh and left the to burn. Your is trash in this game, bro. I'm not gonna lie. But wait, what happened to the lads in that case? Ethan and Corey split up to investigate just what has changed in this reality. And shocker, Onigin is now our homeroom teacher, verifying one of our flashbacks. Of course, now his name is Jack Toombley, which was the name of Ethan's actual homeroom teacher, which I don't think I've shown him at all in this video. He's been very inconsequential. Obviously getting shocked, Ethan steps out to go to the locker area, and there we see no indication of our friends, no name tag, nothing. Outside we see familiar faces, M and Ash, though they act scary towards us. We ask Ash about Vim, and we get the news that we have been dreading this entire time. The nigga dead. In fact, the whole group dead. This isn't funny. Why am I bro? Go to the library to check the newspaper archive, and sure enough, the newspaper confirms that all the boys did in fact get game ended. And not only that, but it was a deliberate action of arson. And we quickly rectify the flashback by putting out the fire. This returns the future to the point where everyone's safe, but Ben's dog is still dead. A bummer, to be honest. Bigger things kinda going on right now. As we go to check whether our meddling worked, we spot Onigin on the sea. He basically explains that the minute he set foot into the past, Irving ceased to exist, I think. But how does he become Jack, our homeroom teacher? I don't understand it, nor do I care. It's not integral to the story, I think. If you've played this game and you know what this nigga trying to explain, please drop it in the comments. All you need to know is that Irving failed in saving his mom. Well, not exactly, as he saved her from the bus accident, but ultimately she died in another accident later on. So now Jack, the current Onigin, has a plan which consists of pure revenge. Not about saving the mom, just pure unbridled revenge. About as blunt as it gets there. And he walks off. Ethan and Corey split up again to see what's changed, and the rest of this chapter is pretty much Jack with Ethan, which I will summarize right now. He first kills Maurice. Oh my neck! Neck snap. Crazy. He then kills Ashley and Emily, beaten to a pulp. Crazy. Ethan tries to do the digging thing to write a note on the money envelope that Ashley had, warning her to not go to Kronos where her and Emily got beaten up and killed, but consequently now makes him a suspect. Even Vim asks him bluntly whether he murdered Ash. Most areas are now swarming with cops. Our movements are highly limited. Ethan meets with Corey and they hatch a plan that will ensure Ash and Em don't head to Kronos. And blah 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 blah, we fix everything. Look, it's a lot of repetition, you know what I'm saying? I don't want to put you through that. We pretty much joined back with the reality of when we saved Ben's dog and Maurice dropping out, but of course Jack is still here. We go back home and question Derek about everything. Corey, Jack, Irving, to see just how much this current reality of him knows. Jack sends a letter or something. Ethan asks to see a letter that Irving had talked about that his mother received that led her to the bus and then eventually her death. He shows us the letter and it's pretty much as it says, though the sender of the letter is still quite iffy. Jack, after posting the letter, says something ominous and then back to square one. Basically, a gas explosion at a restaurant. That game ended Derek. We head to the location and Corey hatches a plan. One that will involve her going into the hold and taking Uncle Derek far from the explosion, making sure he does not succumb. We oblige and the plan does go successfully. Though... that was Ethan's parents. Finally, my god, please end this game. We now know where Ethan's parents were. Now let's go shave him. But of course, he has to show up. And if his old ass wasn't enough, he chefs Ethan's leg.
If you're Roman, you gotta be rolling the party with Barbie. Shut up!
Derek shows up, puts him in a mean submission, giving Ethan just enough time to open a hole and pull his parents through, assuring their safety. Corey then gets chefed as she was trying to protect Ethan.
二宮、あんたの思い通りにはさせない。
なぜだカノン。
時岡、大丈夫よ。きっとホロ君が助けてくれる。
カノンカノン。
いつかきっとクロノスで。
カノン。
Derek is the most affected by this, as it turns out him and Corey were a pair. The cafe idea was his dream, a dream that he shared with Corey, who actually in fact gave him the name Kronos. As a thank you, he then gifted her the hourglass necklace. Jack does the race and they all follow him, cornering him at the place of his mother's accident. How ironic. This motherfucker pulls out the pen, ready to redo his whole cloning thing, but someone finally just puts the beats on the neck. And a little too well though, because he ends up falling right off a cliff, movie style. I mean, there was an attempt to save him from Ethan. It was not successful. We did peep a scratch on my man's hand. Store that in your mind. Ethan is then rushed to the hospital, having incurred those stab wounds from a while ago, and he has a very nice, heartwarming chat with Mumsy. And also, this is the only time the thing of pen users aging drastically is brought up from Ethan's perspective. And I don't know about you, this literally looks the same. Okay, my god. This section is now just a lot of lore, so... oh my god. Key things. Ethan's dad did in fact pull Corey through time, but it was because of Derek. Why? After Corey was pushed, fell and died, why am I laughing? This is tragic stuff. Derek decided to game end himself in the school hallway, Epstein style. Jesus Christ. My man said, I'm finna change the whole trajectory of everyone's lives in this school. I mean, shit, you couldn't do it at home? Okay, no, I can't say that. So Corey is dead. We go back to re-pull Corey through once more, which we do. Bring her back home and we finally ask her who the hell could have pushed her off the roof. She doesn't know though she says whoever it may be possibly has a scratch mark, as when she was pushed as a last-ditch effort, she tried to grab onto anything, and that anything happened to be the assailant's hand, which she ended up scratching. It was Irving. I'll just put it together for you, okay? It was Irving. So basically, the core of why everything that is happening within this story is Onegin was thirsting for Corey, but Corey was already fucking with Uncle Derek. So naturally, as any grief-stricken, heartbroken man should do, He murdered her. He was specifically, I guess, tripping over the fact that Cory did look a lot like her mom, so he thought that's why there should be a pair, which is a little weird. Well, not a little, it's a lot of weird. And whoa, wait a second. How would he know that Cory looks like his mom, but his mom died in that accident when Irving was just a kid? That bitch was alive! Cory says as much, at least at that time. So skipping all that shit that leads us to Mary of Cory's time, we learn from her that she knows that her son pushed Cory off the roof. But she also informs us that no matter what she changes, Irving always finds a way to kill Cory. Whether it was killing, stabbing, bludgeoning, he would kill her no matter what she changed. And basically, Mary being unable to change the past to stop her son from killing Cory, she effectively is game ending herself at every turn because of guilt. So the plan is pretty much to prevent Irving's mom's game ending herself by preventing Cory's death. Derek volunteers to put himself through the hole to catch Cory as she's falling, which is very sad because that means he would be thrown out of the loop of time, relegating him to the same fate as Cory is now. So as we go back to the school to make that happen, let's pad the story just a little bit more. I'm gonna just skip to when we close the hole with the changes, okay?
私、生きてる？
カノン！
時代くん。
よう、俺。ね？カノンを守れ。一生だ。あなたは？頼むぜ。
And everything's back to normal. Cory gets with Derek, Irving's kicked out of school, the gang's all good, mom and dad are back, and that's pretty much the end of the game. As now Ethan, very satisfied, sends back As now Ethan sends back the pen and note back to his past self to prevent a time paradox that I don't understand or even pretend to understand. If you understand anything about the time stuff, please just shout in the comment section, please. I'm so confused. And that pretty much concludes the story of Time Hollow. And what is the moral of the story of Time Hollow? Lads, do not die for Nyash out here, guys. You feel like, please do not game end, gal. And don't game end yourself most of all. There's far too many fish out here to be tripping for one. You know? Especially when the girl you're tripping about is dressed out here like she's straight from the Victorian era. The post-credit, by the way, shows Cory again. Why? Why? God, this game is so shit! Hey, hi. This is editing me. This isn't Cory. This isn't Cory. Slight miscalculation. Sorry. So this is actually Derek and Cory's child, and it's basically meant to be a signifier of the timeline is all correct. Derek, I'm just gonna say right now, them jeans weak as hell, bro. She literally just looks like Cory. Oh, it was a misunderstanding. That's all to say that it was a misunderstanding. The game's no shit. No, it's still shit. Would I recommend you play this game? No. And even if you think I'm wrong, please don't play the game. I'm begging you, please don't play this game. I'm begging you. The only thing I can recommend, just go listen to the OST or something. At least that shit fire. You feel me? If you wanna play a visual novel on the DS 999, you know what I'm saying? Hotel Dusk, you know what I'm saying? Last Window, you know what I'm saying? Though that might be a bit expensive, I'm not gonna lie. You could pick up yourself the, what's that one called? Professor Layton, Phoenix Wright, but only the first Phoenix Wright. The others are... Hot take. Should I say the hot take? I might don't say the hot take, huh? And if you're a DS collector like me, please don't even look at how much this eBay are selling this mid-fall. Spend that type of money on the games I've just mentioned, okay? Don't spend your money on this thing. If you've played Time Hollow or just think I'm blatantly wrong about this, please scream at me at the comment section, you know? I'm very intrigued to see what people quite think of this. But yeah, if you enjoyed your stay with the boy, you already know what to do. I'm not gonna insult your intelligence here. And we don't just play visual novels here. In fact, we very rarely play visual novels here. Over here, I played a dating sim, however long ago, because I don't know when this video is coming out. Here it is. And in one of my other series, Obscure Corner, I covered One Shot. We covered The Bouncer, which was just some PS2 game I had lying around that I wanted to try. Here it is. Whoosh! Whoosh! Oh no! Oh, he's gonna kill me! Get off, Volt! Get off! Volt! And hell, let's have a TBT thing, you know? Here's the time I played Outlast. You fat! You fat! Oh shit! Oh shit! Oh. You know what? I'm gonna pull a big cojones move. Ka-chow! Oh yeah! It's been me, Kane. Happy New Year. And I'm gonna go play Def Jam now. Bye.
Thank you.